because they did make some moves on the offensive side too. The two biggest things you needed, maybe of any position group, but certainly on the offensive side of the ball, going into this free agency period for the Patriots were protect Drake Maye, help Drake Maye. Get an NFL caliber tackle, which you have not had. You did not have last year and arguably the year before. And get him a weapon or two. Get someone he can throw to. And you went a little bit bargain bin hunting and you got some. I say a little bit because obviously there's not a lot of tackles out there on the free agency market. Cam Robinson, bad. Really not good. Allowed the most pressures in the league last year. Glad they didn't go out and get him, although I guess there's still time. You went out and got Morgan Moses, who I think a lot of teams were turned off from, but by the fact that he's, 32, 33 years old. This is going to be year 13. So he's like, 33, 34. 34, sorry. 34. This will be his 13th year in the league. So a lot of people are turned off by that. Patriots get him 3 years, $24 million. It's also, kind of stinks that he's a right tackle. He doesn't play left tackle. Hasn't played it in his whole career. He's dependable at right tackle, but maybe not necessarily versatile in that sense. But you went out and get him on a 3-year deal, relatively short money, and really what this is a gap guy, bridge guy. So that at some point, this year and next, you're probably going to be, taking a chance or two on some tackles in the NFL draft, and they can learn under this guy. And if they don't work out, then you've got a guy in Morgan Moses, who's played in this league a long time. Obviously played for the Jets last year. Didn't have the best year. Neither did the Jets. But that's one where you improved your offensive line there. The other one is Mack Hollins. You went out and got Mack Hollins from another divisional rival, the Buffalo Bills, and you got a receiver for Drake Maye to throw to. Now, I've downloaded 4 pictures of Mack Hollins and the crazy outfits that he wears going into games, but StreamYard will not accept any of them, so I can't show you any of these pictures of Mack Hollins. But he had a pretty solid year for the Bills last year. In fact, he was the touchdown receptions leader for the Bills last year. Wrong side of 30, 32, going to be 32 this year, I should say, by the beginning of the regular season. But he is a guy who can still play. And this is a position where typically those legs do slow down on the wrong side of 30, but it's so easy at wide receiver to kind of measure production. And so there's a couple guys out there that I'm like, I don't care that they're 30. Mack Hollins would not have been at the top of my list, but he's something. He was their leading touchdowns guy last year with 5. He had 378 yards. Like this is not a game-breaking receiver here. This is Chris Hogan without Tom Brady yet, so it's something. He had 31 catches. I guess the bright spot is his best year in the league was in 2022. He had 94 targets that year, 57 catches, 690, and 4 touchdowns. He was a real impact receiver that year for the Las Vegas Raiders, for head coach Josh McDaniels. That's a guy he went out and got pretty much right away after seeing him a little bit in Miami. He'd been played a lot of special teams, became a bit of a starting receiver in Miami. McDaniels went out and got him for Vegas. This is his 4th team in 4 years and his 6th team overall. But I guess the silver lining there is you got a guy that's productive for Josh McDaniels. But other than that, I can't say this was a huge win for the Patriots offense. And there is going to be the rumblings and the questions of if this is all they're doing in free agency, is that going to be enough for Drake Maye? Is that going to be enough for Patriots fans to say, yeah, this was a successful offseason, a successful free agency? On one hand, you need to bolster your whole team, and they've certainly bolstered their defense. But on the other hand, You just went through a kind of an iteration of a rebuild or a retool when you drafted Mac Jones. You had good pieces the first year. The second year, you were focused mainly on defense, let everything go to shit on offense, and his career was stunted. And the next year, you won 4 games. So I think there has to be some consideration to how are we building this team different than in years past? How are we building this team around the quarterback like so many contenders do? The way that, Buffalo did, the way that the Eagles did. I know the Eagles have a great defensive line and a great defense overall, but the first things they had were Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And then they had a great defense. Buffalo started attracting better players eventually, but they went defense first. Is that the model they go to? So it's an interesting one to kind of build around. Kansas City built around quarterback and then made a great defense with Spagnuolo. So is this the way the Patriots can go in 2025 with a good young quarterback, a very promising young quarterback, and risk stunting his growth the same way they did with Mac Jones? Drake Maye is better than Mac Jones. He has a better upside than Mac Jones. But we were ready for Mac Jones to be the franchise quarterback after the 2021 season. And they didn't build around him offensively. They let good players go and replace them with worse players. I'm thinking about the Jacoby Myers to Juju Smith-Schuster downgrade. Things like that. And you built around a defense and you thought, in Bill we trust. I certainly did. In Bill we trust. He wants to bring in a special teams coordinator and a defensive coordinator to be basically co-OCs and mold this young quarterback. Sure. Why the fuck not? What's the worst that could happen? So at least that's not going to happen again. But you do have to wonder if they don't add anything offensively other than Morgan Moses and Mack Hollins, if you're doing a disservice to your quarterback. I thought they had a great first day of free agency on the defensive side. I can't say the same about the offense. And, there's only so much you can do when Chris Godwin, extends with Tampa for potentially $20 million less than what you were going to pay him. I mean, you can't kidnap the guy. This isn't Celtic pride. You can't do that. And DK Metcalf was traded. You didn't want him. I probably didn't want him either way. You're going to have a chance at veteran receivers. So before any of the Boston sports media loses their mind, you're not going to sign out. You're not going to go out and sign a big-time 25-year-old wide receiver in free agency. It's not going to happen. If you're going to sign a free agent wide receiver, it's going to be someone on the wrong side of 28. And this was one in Mack Hollins. Not huge money, but doesn't inspire a ton. Again, I mean, Chris Hogan didn't really catch on anywhere else. That's what Mack Hollins is going to be for you. He's going to be Chris Hogan. Tall, can get after a deep ball every once in a while. Not going to have too much separation. Was a special teamer for a while. Like that's what Mack Hollins is. And if you need to make this offense, if you need this offense to take significant strides at that position, it's trading for A.J. Brown. Which who knows? It's not getting Chris Hogan and Mack Hollins. Just my 2 cents on it.
We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter here for some more outrageous Boston sports takes coming to you every weekday at noon Eastern time. And then after that, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Rogue Media Sports.